Timothy Ludwig, the real Mr. Lud. There's other Mr. Luds out there. Fugaze.
That's right, Tim.
This is the real Mr. Lud. AJ, what are your thoughts just before we dive into this tweet about Timothy Ludwig, the real Mr. Lud?
I'm glad he, separated himself from the others, that aren't the real one.
Yeah, and I'm sick of all these other people acting like they're the fucking real Mr. Lud.
They're not. They ain't.
I'm tired of it. Timothy said, me too. Give it to me as my Avi. At the real Mr. Lud. Hashtag PMS, I don't want to overreact, but Magic Mike White Lightning has the Jets soaring into and through the playoffs while at the same time forcing Zach Wilson to be sulking and scouring the Cougars.com database for a New York, New Jersey mommy to coddle him. Shrugs. Sorry about it, says the real Mr. Lud. This is a fascinating situation. And Mike White knowingly was going to have to talk about this whenever they draft a quarterback number 2 overall, how the expectation business-wise, fan-wise, organization-wise, is that the person that you invest the highest draft pick possible into is going to be the face of the program. A lot of people are too stubborn. A lot of people have egos. A lot of people don't like to put that aside for the good of the team. This is what we invested. This is what we're going to use. Doesn't just happen in the NFL. Happens in all businesses, but certainly has been happening for the New York Jets. Mike White comes in last year, does a bang-up job against the Cincinnati Bengals, throws for like 400 yards, then takes on New England and Buffalo, who had the 2 best defenses in the league, did not fare well. Played against the Colts, walked right down the field, had some nerve damage. Then he was pulled, didn't get to play anymore after that whole thing. He comes back into a game this weekend, has 250 yards by halftime, 300 total. Zach Wilson had only done that like maybe once or never done that. I forget the entire stat line. This dude is a guy. Carries himself as if he's a guy. I know he called him Magic Mike White Lightning. You need to add moxie in there too because this dude has it in bunches. His confidence seems to be through the roof at all times, and his teammates love him. That's seemingly the issue with Zach Wilson. Not only does he make bad decisions and put his team in bad places, he has all the arm talent in the world, so I guess he could become a guy if he figures that all out. But seemingly the locker room can do with that. Even including in moments whenever he says, have you disappointed in the defense? He says no. That told me that he had no relationship with anybody on the defense because he could have at least said, I feel like I let down Sauce. Me and Sauce have a great relationship. Sauce is playing like that. So I feel like there was a lack of a relationship to begin with. Everybody was talking about, did that comment ruin his relationship with the locker room? I think there was a lack of a relationship to begin with. And that could potentially stem from when Mike White was playing a year ago, there was chanting Mike White in the locker room in front of Zach Wilson's face. So I think Mike White's wanted by the team. I think Mike White's wanted by the fans. I think Mike White has put things on film that say he's a fucking NFL quarterback. Why not? Why not, AJ? Why not Mike White?
Why not ride? I figured they have to ride him, like ride the hot hand, right? Like you got to take him as long as he's still playing like this. You can't take this guy out of the lineup, can you?
Is there anything to saying he's our guy long term? Does that just kill Zach? Is that why they won't do it?
The rest of this year, I mean, you could say like, hey, he's in there. We're gonna let him roll the rest of this year and see how it goes. Couldn't you say that?
Because they have to balance Zach Wilson out, right? Because Zach Wilson could come back. Mike White could get hurt, right?
Yeah.
And then they have Joe Flacco there. And Mike White could, I guess, throw 7 picks in a game because something happens that he hasn't seen before because he's still, not as experienced as other quarterbacks around the NFL. But why not? I don't know. I think because
what was the report, though? Was it a tweet? Whoever was observing them on the sidelines and said, after one of Mike White's touchdowns early, Flacco, everyone, the other quarterback who was there, they're all pumping him up. They're excited. And Zach Wilson was sitting like on the other side of the bench just by himself, basically.
They're watching film. Strafolsky was the other one.
And that's coming off after he gave that press conference where he just, all the bullshit with like, hey, this is a very humbling opportunity. It's a chance for me to get better. Like that's all horseshit. You look at the way he acted, like he's not happy for the guy, obviously, and you have an ego and everything. And then they talked about post game where he was out of there before any of the reporters got into the locker room. Like he's pouting that he's not starting anymore, and he's pissed that this guy's coming in and lighting the world on fire.
Yeah, the Zach Wilson story is fascinating.
Yeah. I think you know exactly what you're getting with that guy.
What's that?
I mean, he's a petulant, sack of shit.
Whoa! Oh!
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 And you can't write him off, right? Because can you even trade him then in the offseason? Like, will any teams want him if you're like, this guy?
I don't know if anybody's going to want him. Honestly, I feel like
they have to. Don't you think they have to at least give him, they're thinking we have to give this dude another shot and hopefully he works out?
Someone's thinking.
Do they?
You're
I
thinking
mean,
Carolina?
they
Why
have a
would
chance now to go with Mike White.
Maybe.
Why would Carolina?
Well, they will. That's what I'm saying. Like, if Mike continues to light up like this,
Other teams.
If you could trade like a 5th round pick for it, I bet like some teams would, jump at that. But
So this is like, and it got brought up earlier about the Cardinals moving on. Rosen, they moved on from Rosen. And everybody, whoa, moved
Yeah.
on from Rosen. And then, no offense, Rosen, hell of a player at UCLA. Big fan. Love the hot tub,
Go,
love the whole
Josh.
thing.
Yep.
The Rosen one.
Yep.
I'm a fan of Rosen, the human.
he was almost taken first overall.
Yeah, I think in the NFL, he did not really pan out for one reason or another. I wonder if that's what they'll say about Zach Wilson, because of all the bullshit. And you know how it is. You get labeled in the bullshit and you don't have film that makes you look great. That's going to be – teams will handle bullshit if you are
worth the bullshit.
Next level.
– if you're a dog. They will handle it. But the distraction, negative, bad teammate thing cannot become – your narrative, or nobody will fucking sign you. That is literally what will happen.
Why would they? Why would they ever bring you in if they
Ever.
think it's going to be a problem? Like if you're not playing well, not putting good tape out there, like at least be known as like a locker room dude who brings people together, who's a great teammate.
Bingo. Because if you're killing it on the field, they can go, all right, we can get him in our locker room, our culture. Everybody will like him. We'll know how to handle it. But if you stink and you're a bad teammate,
It's tough.
I think just think about humans making decisions. Like, oh, do I want to risk my family's, house and stability on this person who could potentially linger into some young guy's ear, who could then linger into somebody else's ear, then linger into somebody else's? Like, I don't know. That's just a tough thing. When you get labeled a distraction, and we've all seen it play out, and this will be the most spoiled version of it, I think, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of how we're all viewing it. We're all viewing it like this dude's spoiled. Like Tebow's distraction, vastly different than Zach Wilson's distraction. Johnny Manziel's distraction, vastly different than Zach Wilson's distraction. But as soon as you get labeled a distraction, not good. That is all sure. Plus, if you suck, I think he's done. I think Zach Wilson is done.
And he's in New York too. He's in New York dealing with the extra, like the magnitude of how the press and everything is there. Like, so it's a tough, perfect storm for him right now, I feel like.
This is not me saying he's a bad teammate. This is me just saying the narrative about him is he's a bad teammate and he sucks. So with those two being together, I am going to say I think he is done. I think it's going to be tough for a team to sign him unless he's just a backup, which doesn't seemingly fit into how he is acting yesterday, but who knows? I mean, they'll figure it out.
Well, that's what I was gonna say though. Is like if you're a shitty teammate, you can't be a career backup either because like
That's what you're
supposed like and that's kind of what Orlovsky said a couple weeks ago. He's like, how do you think I stuck around for as long as I did? It's like because I was a good teammate. Like I don't have the physical tools that he had, but if you're a dickhead and just like a punk all the time, it's like look at Sam Darnold. Like he I don't think if he doesn't get another opportunity to be a starting quarterback, like I think he will be a serviceable backup quarterback for a long time because there's no narratives out there that he's a shitty teammate.
It's bad. Zach Wilson should be doing press conferences talking about how much he and his teammates get along because that is our natural thought. Is this guy's a bad teammate.
Yeah.
That's not a good narrative. That's not a good. Yeah. That's not good for anybody. Let's go to another overreaction. What were you going to say?
Darnold, and same with Baker, too. Baker was the number 1 overall pick. They're both in Carolina, and Baker's, headbutting guys even though he's not playing. Like, I feel like his narrative as a good teammate has changed a little, and he's proven that he can be a backup.
You think he will? Yeah.
Will he be a good backup?
Yeah.
If he doesn't have to play, yeah.
Jeez. Kind of a shot. I didn't expect that. Do you expect him to be a career backup, Baker Mayfield?
I don't know. I think he's better. I think he's top 62 quarterbacks in the NFL.
64, but that's
Math.
that's not how it works with backup quarterbacks. You have to be able to break down film very well. You have to be able to make every single throw in practice. You have to be able to be a good conversation or communicator between not just quarterback room and team, but team to quarterback room. Like backup quarterback has a lot different slate than just, hey, guy's a good ball player, I think. And that's all this success. That's just the ones that I got to watch. Now, obviously, I might be in a different situation than others, but that's why it's not just the best 64, I think, personally, AJ.